Even in death, Rob Skiba still has one of the most influential flat earth channels on YouTube. Here I want to share a highlight from one of Rob Skiba's epic talks from back in 2017. I've also gone and looked into some of his claims and found some amazing discoveries that I just really had to share. So please enjoy.
The moon rocks were first exposed as frauds by them in the Netherlands. Now, the Apollo astronauts went around and the big publicity tour at the time, back in the 60s, giving various people in positions of royalty and whatnot, leadership, moon rocks. Well, they decided at one point they wanted to take an insurance policy out on it. So, of course, as part of doing the insurance policy thing, they start analyzing it, and they found out that things petrified wood.
After looking into this myself, I have to say that I find it funny how, according to the NBC News report on the matter, Van Gelder, one of the leading men in the investigation, said, "No one thought to doubt that it was a moon rock, since it came from the Prime Minister's collection," which is really odd since it looks so much different from every image that we have that was supposedly taken from the moon. The plaque reads, "With the compliments of the Ambassador of the United States of America." And just looking at it, we can see a very clear implied message saying, "Please accept this as a token or sign to let you know that we faked the whole thing. Welcome to the inside story. You are now in the loop."
Now, I'm at this venue, the Milky Way, and I find out that this museum is literally like a couple of blocks down the road. So I'm going to go there. So Sheila and I went there, and we get to the information desk, and they weren't even aware that they had the thing. I'm like, this is supposed to be one of the most significant achievements of all of humanity. You would think you'd have that center display with, like a halo right over it, and the angels floating over it, pointing at it. Like, look at what we did, No, they had it tucked away in a warehouse somewhere, like in Indiana Jones. They said that it's tucked away in a warehouse. You have to get special appointment and blah blah blah. She had to actually look it up. They had it, but I just thought it was rather poetic that here I'm, the whole series of events that led me there, what I was talking about, and that was right down the street. They exposed it as a fraud. And just so happened, if you go look it up, that Werner von Braun and company were down in Antarctica in the late 1960s, prior to us allegedly going there in 69, looking for moon rocks. You can look that up for yourself.
New World Encyclopedia. Von Braun travels to Antarctica looking for meteorites which were believed to have come from the moon. I've got a link to that in this video's description.
Going to Antarctica looking for moon rocks. So first of all, at that point, we hadn't even been there yet. So how do you know if you find a rock that it's from the moon? It's not like you go, "Oh, made on the moon. Cool. All right, let's categorize that one. Oh, this one's made on Mars. Put that one over here." There's no way you're going to know that. And we're allegedly in the space race against the Russians, right? We got to beat the Russians. They're going, Sputnik, right? So if we're in this big space race against the Russians, and we got to get to space and get up there, and Gary or whatever is floating around up there, we got to walk in space. Why are you down on a vacation in Antarctica? Very suspicious. I show this picture a lot of times to people and say, "Hey, this is associated with the Apollo moon landings. Can you tell me what region of the moon that is?" People give various guesses. Some of you have probably seen it, so you know where I'm going with this. Well, it's not the moon. That's Arizona. It's where they, Cinder Lake, Arizona, where they blew up Arizona to look like the moon. In fact, you can still see remnants of it on Google Earth today.
While it may surprise you, the United States Geographical Survey actually sustains this claim.
Before landing on the surface of the moon in 1969, astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin needed a training ground that matched their destination's cratered surface.
Fire!
In the U.S., that turned out to be northern Arizona. Starting in 1967, the U.S. Geological Survey used hundreds of pounds of dynamite to blast holes into the surface of ancient lava fields south of Sunset Crater near Flagstaff. The first Cinder Lake crater field was designed to mimic the Sea of Tranquility, the lunar surface on which the astronauts would land. A second crater field was created in July of 1968. Its 380 craters have lost contours to time, but the pockmarks are still apparent in aerial shots of the area, which is now used by off-road vehicles.
The size and location of each of the 426 craters have been reproduced with remarkable accuracy. This is the orbiter photograph of the lunar surface, and this is an aerial photograph of the new crater field.
So they just said this is the moon, and this is Arizona.
Apollo astronauts would continue to train in the Flagstaff area for years after the first moon landing.
Fascinating, right?
I recently went there because I'd already done all the presentations, and I was in Arizona not too long ago. I'm like, I'm going there. And if you saw the video I posted on YouTube, it's called Rob Skiba Walks on the Moon. I shot a little selfie of myself, there. Maybe that's why, you had the before and after. Before, these guys were like, ooh, yeah, ooh. And then when you have the press conference, when they come back, allegedly coming back from the most significant thing human beings have ever done, ever, that's the way they looked. And if you watch the actual presentation, they don't, look, man, if I was on the moon, if I had ever walked on the moon, I'd still be floating when I came back here. You'd have to tie a tether to me. So I didn't fly away because I'd be spazzed. I'm pretty hyper anyway. I'd be spazzed, jacked out of my mind for the rest of my life. These guys look like their dog was shot. They just found out Santa Claus isn't real. The Easter Bunny, They were so, to me, honestly, they looked like good patriotic men that hated the fact that they had to lie. That's, I'm maybe reading too much into it. Fair enough. But watch it for yourself and see what you think.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the Apollo 11 crew, astronauts Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, Edwin Aldrin. Neil?
It was our pleasure to have participated in one great adventure. It's an adventure that took place not just in the month of July, but rather one that took place in the last decade. We all here and the people listening in today had the opportunity to share that adventure over its developing and unfolding in the past months and years. It's our privilege today to share with you some of the details of that final month of July that was certainly the highlight for the three of us of that decade.
But so if that stuff didn't happen, then neither did this. This is Apollo 17.
Thank you for that, Rob Skiba. As always, you are awesome. Until we meet again, from the Flat Earth Institute of Science. If you'd like to listen to his whole talk, I have a link both here and in this video's description. Thank you for watching.